Hello, everybody. You've tuned into the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance. Cops for Kids, subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. We thank them for their continued support. We thank Tom Trial, the man behind the scene, putting us on YouTube each and every week so everyone can enjoy it and visually watch us and visually see First Sergeant Tom Hannon. Thanks, Tom, for being here. Appreciate you. Have you ever been here with me?
I have never have.
I didn't think you had. I appreciate you coming in here.
First time.
Good deal. And to his right, my left, is Sergeant Mike Woods. Thanks, guys. And they are with the training division with the Indiana State Police. And more specifically, you guys do the academy.
Correct.
You are the runners of the academy.
That's right.
So you're hated.
Sometimes.
Yeah, I know. When I was going through there, I didn't like my guys too much, But it kind of comes around, and after you're done, and you see what's happened, and you realize, hey, these guys weren't so bad, and they were.
There's a reason for it.
Exactly. There's a reason for what they're doing, and we're going to get in and talk about that a little bit. But how did you become involved with the academy, Tom?
Well, I got promoted into this position just about a year and a half ago.
Okay. Is this your first academy that you've ran?
No, this would be my second academy that I ran. I ran the 75th, and the one we have in progress right now is the 76th. When I started my career back in 1985, I actually became a firearms instructor a year later in 1986. And I've held instructor statuses in firearms, defensive tactics, first aid, EVOC, about everything that we teach.
You were in ERT / now SWAT.
Yeah, I did that for 18 years as well and did a lot of instructing. And through all those things, I eventually then became an instructor at the academy. Funny thing about Mike being my assistant, I was also a counselor at his academy class when he went through the academy. And then 10 years later, now we're the commander and the assistant commander of the academy.
And I notice you're like me. You've got a lot of stars here in that middle pin. Mike's got one.
Right. Yeah, our longevity pin. We've been around a few years.
Yeah.
Been around.
But it's good to have you. Mike, how did you jump on board here?
Well, Tom here was my counselor at the academy. I went out and worked the road. I worked in Putnamville for 7 years, something like that. I was a trainer at the academy, did SFSTs and EVOC and some other things, and put in for the academy, be a counselor for the 75th, which was the last class under Tom. So last class I was a counselor, and then the spot came open for a sergeant, and I put in for it, and was promoted early this last year, say March, something like that, and prepared for this class, 76th.
And speaking of that, we kind of want to give a plug, counselors. It's a tough job.
It is. It's
extremely tough, but I'm sure it's rewarding.
Yes, it's a very demanding job, and where the demands really hit you is it's a lot of work. It's a lot of time away from home, a lot of documentation, a lot of logistic stuff that goes into running an academy. So it's a very time consuming. But there's things to be learned there as a counselor as well. They learn some supervision skills. So it's things that they can take back to the road with them and maybe help them with their career paths that they choose, whether it's supervision or different things like that.
Something that you can use all through life, no matter you're here or wherever. You're going to
good people skills, and like you said, if you're looking to promote on the department, you learn a lot of great skills.
Yeah. And then, like you say, you're shaping somebody that the way you want them as an Indiana State police officer and the way the department wants them. So that's got to be very rewarding. And to see them later on down the line, you see Mike and see what he's involved into.
Sure. It's kind of a twofold thing. It's a little bit of parenting and seeing these individuals, men and women that want to be state troopers, grow through the process, just like when you're raising a child and they grow through the process of life. It's a lot like being a school teacher and very rewarding in the fact that when we're trying to teach certain knowledge or skills, to see these individuals go from some of them not knowing how to shoot a gun at all, they've never shot a gun, to mastering that type of a skill set, and is very rewarding to see them grow as individuals throughout the process.
And I'm sure anybody that would be interested in that, see this, get a hold of either one of you guys,
Absolutely.
Can talk to you, and you'd sit down and
open communication with us.
Yeah,
I may not answer that email right away because I got 50 others, but no, we'll get right back to you and answer all your questions.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the 76. How many did we start out with?
66, day one.
66 came through the door and day one.
That's right.
Where are we at right now?
55.
Okay, all right.
Got to back that up a little bit. We looked at, we went through our host selection process this year, and we got down to the top 100 people. Out of the top 100 people, we offered 80 people a conditional offer of employment. From that 80, We then had 66 of them walk through the door, like Mike said.
And I think it's still true. It was when I came on, and I'm sure it is with you. It's not quality with us. Not quantity. It's quality. You're not going to try and get numbers in there just to have numbers.
I'm not going to cram in those numbers.
Right. You want somebody that you know is going to be a good state police officer and come out and do the job correctly, and that's what you offered up.
Sure. It's like anything that we have. We've got standards that we want met. We've got a certain type of criteria that is going to be met. Certainly, we would love to have larger numbers of people to graduate from the academy and even to apply to the department. But it is what it is.
Yep.
We are not going to compromise our integrity and our standards just to put numbers through the door. We are going to put through and train highly qualified individuals to be Indiana State Troopers.
So when did this start? What was day one?
For this class, it was May 22nd.
May 22nd.
Okay.
Right. All my dates are getting confused.
It runs together after a while, doesn't it? Here we are in September. The big stuff done, criminal law, traffic law. I remember when I went through those were your
all
biggies.
big milestones.
Okay.
That we've
They've been
came
met.
across.
Firearms, EVOC, all that.
And most recently, district assignments.
Okay, so they know
everybody
where
knows
they're
where
going.
Yes.
That's interesting. That's a little farther along, or that's a little quicker than I remember.
Yes.
It seems like it, yeah, but it's right in pace with where we normally go.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they know where they're going. They've got through their big stuff here. We got something that's coming up that's kind of unique. It's not been going on a long time, has it? The Quickening?
Roughly 10 years.
Yeah.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, 10 to 12 years that we've been doing the Quickening.
Okay. Well, explain the Quickening. What happens during that, and what's the thought process behind it?
The Quickening, again, started about 10 to 12 years ago. It's a thing that is modeled after a couple of other events that go on in our country with a lot of times with our military people. In the Marine Corps, it's called the Crucible. So it's kind of a model thing like that. And what it basically is a scenario-based training and evaluation program that we do towards the end of the academy to evaluate and to finish some of the training of the day-to-day operations that a trainee is going to go through. So some of the scenarios that we have, and there's 23 of them this year, Mike?
I believe so.
23 scenarios, and there are things like domestics, traffic stops, DUI stops,
loud
music, burglaries, different things like that. So it's scenarios that are based off of real-life training that the individuals are going to, that they receive at the academy, and that they're going to go out and perform these type of duties on the road. It's
something that they're going to see when they get out there with their FTO, that they're going to come across every day on their duties, and you're going to see how they're going to react.
Normal job tasks.
So who's the players in this? Obviously, the recruits are going to be the troopers on the scene. How do you set up the rest of this? Is this volunteers or what?
I'm going to let Mike talk a little bit about the logistics of how many people we have coming for this.
Well, we tap all the districts throughout the state, and even our civilians that come down and play as role players also. But we essentially...
And where's this at? We're talking
Muscatatuck Urban Training Center down by North Vernon.
Yep,
It's
do a lot of training
National
down there.
Guard facility. It's great. It's basically a little town. So
right.
We have buildings and houses and trailer parks and stores and
everything.
Hospital.
Yeah.
And
movie theater.
Jail.
Like a little town.
Yeah.
Little town. So we get to be role scenarios pretty well. But so we tap all the resources throughout the state with every district and assignment. So we have to have FTOs, which are field training officers, for all these recruits. So we get about 50, in this case 55 FTOs will serve as field training officers for the recruits while they're there. So those are all troopers that are FTOs out in the field. And then we have probably 100 to 150 role players.
So you've got 55 troopers. Are they all, is this like when we're on the road, one trooper to the car, one FTO?
We have to double up.
Okay.
So in most cases, we have 2 recruits in a car.
Okay.
And they each have their own car numbers, so radio kind of works with them, and we tap our dispatch.
And so you have dispatch. They're calling in, they're talking.
Yes,
it's a full board. We run everybody.
Okay.
It's a pretty neat thing.
That's interesting. Yeah. So they're calling. They go 1023 to a domestic.
All the radio traffic. They'll be dispatched to the call. They'll be required to answer the radio. They'll go. They'll arrive at the scene. They'll use the proper 10 codes and signal codes while they're talking on the radio to help them get in that type of a process. They will communicate back and forth with the radio about needs that they need. So, for example, if they go to one of the wrecker scenarios, they'll be calling for ambulances. They'll be calling for wreckers. I said wrecker scenarios, crash scenarios.
Right.
So they'll call for all the support services that they'll need. Those will all arrive for them. Some of the scenarios, they may even have to provide first aid. So
that's what I was getting ready to ask. So if they pull up on a crash and there's somebody who needs first aid.
Which goes with our program at the Academy. We've updated our first aid, and it became I think, my personal opinion, is a pretty good curriculum that we've installed out there. So we're changing. We always change things up. Everything's fluid every year. So
yeah. And that could, especially in your smaller southern counties or wherever, trooper could be the first one on the scene.
Absolutely.
And they got to know what they're doing and how they're doing it. When you guys sent out the call for this, get a lot of volunteers, get a lot of people?
We got a lot of repeat volunteers, and I'm sure there's some others that's like, I really don't want to do it. But, hey, I'm tapped to come down there and spend 4 or 5 days with us.
So this starts on Monday,
October 3rd.
October 3rd.
How long is this a one-day thing?
3 to 4 days.
Three to 4 days. It's set up to be 3 12-hour days. So they will work a longer shift than what we normally work on the road. But to try to get all the scenarios in for all 23 teams that we'll have, they'll have to work 12-hour days, which is not uncommon for us to some days have long days as state troopers. Yep. Catch a crash at the end of your shift or a burglary call, and you've got to go do an investigation because it needs to be done now. So there's certain things that just can't be put off. So they will work 3 12-hour days. And the way it is set up, we're going to starting in the afternoon and going into the evening hours.
Okay.
Because, again, we work a variety of shifts, so we want to train both in the daylight and dark. So they'll work the first day from noon to midnight. The second day will be from 10 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock at night. And then the third day will be from 8 o'clock in the morning to 8 p.m. in the evening. Some of the other things that we do at the end of this, then we will also have a what we call moot court. So some of the arrests that are made in some of the scenarios throughout the 3 days then will be selected by our legal staff, and we will actually have court that they will get to witness. So they'll have to testify in court. They will prepare reports for court. And they will all do this, and then we will choose some of the good ones and some of the bad ones so that we can use it as a learning point as well.
Do you have judges come in and prosecutors and things?
We will have role players for that.
Okay.
We will have our legal staff will provide kind of the prosecuting and the defense attorney side of it.
That's interesting. I didn't know you went that far. The burglaries, they gather evidence, they take it
Absolutely.
in?
We have assigned detectives throughout our state, go directly to that. So they're the role players.
Right.
So they kind of feed them enough information so they can get the report done and kind of base the scenario off their experiences or
they package the evidence and
what to
transport it and everything.
Yeah,
we have a jail. They'll take prisoners to the jail, book the prisoners in. I mean, this is about as close to real life as we can get them. I mean, even in some of the scenarios where they will be involved in gun battle, we'll be using simunition and stuff as well. So
those hurt.
Yes, they hurt.
They're not fun.
I did that but they're great. I mean, they're dead on and
great training tool.
Dead on. Yeah, they're very
good
accurate.
accuracy.
Yes, they're good. They're good training tools, and I've really enjoyed that. So that'll be good. Then by no means are these guys done. We were talking; they were done with their criminal, their traffic, and all that. They're kind of got that done. But by no means are they done. If this is something they get to and say, "Hey, I don't like this," or you guys see, they're not going to be able to handle this.
Well, we return back to the academy for a week, and we do some remediation if need be, and we go through all of these scenarios and break them down with our training coordinators, and kind of if one recruit is struggling with an instance, we take them back and remediate them, make sure they're ready to go, and so they can go out on the road and be a trooper.
Well, it sounds like it's very, very interesting time, and can we come down and watch?
Absolutely.
Sure. Good.
I can put you as a role player.
Good to do that.
Maybe news media.
As long as it's not that simunition thing again, But that's great. Well, I appreciate you guys coming in here. We're about out of time here. So graduation will be
October 20th.
And where's that going to be at?
At the state capitol.
Okay, good. Public's invited. That's a wonderful event. That's something to see. I've been to a lot of those, and that's very, very cool.
It's a great ceremony.
Yeah.
It's a great ceremony. It's a great day for the recruits.
Excellent. Well, Tom, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Mike, thanks again.
Thanks.
I appreciate you guys coming in. Good luck down there. Hope it doesn't rain on you.
If it rains, it rains. We've got rain gear.
We've been out there before, haven't we?
Sure.
Well, again, been listening to the Indiana State Police Roadshow, brought to you by the Indiana State Police Alliance, Cops for Kids, a subsidiary of the Indiana State Police Alliance. Tom Trial putting us on YouTube each and every week. We've been talking about the Indiana State Police Academy and specifically the Quickening. It's something to see, and I think you'll really enjoy it. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you again next week. The Roadshow is out.